Hi, I'm J.E. Warr, W-A-R-R, and this is one of the series of tutorials I'm doing on how money actually works, how it works. And the first one this one we're going to talk about debt. It's strange to me how huge debt is. I mean, everybody's life is controlled by how much they owe, how much debt do they have. Their attitudes, their work, where they live, where their kids go to school, everything is controlled by debt. Yet nobody seems to study it. Nobody even seems to understand it. Well, you're going to, in the next 30 minutes, you'll have an understanding of how debt works. But I've talked to a lot of bankers and securities brokers and industry leaders. I've never found any of them that understood debt. So let's start out at Second Chance Hope Group. This is a nonprofit organization that I started. First of all, I started it out to do help prisoners, but when they got out of prison, they were set up and understood how money works. I would teach them how credit cards work. I'll teach them how banks work. I teach them how to get credit started again. I teach them how to find financing for small businesses. I teach them how to do their business plan. I teach them how to set up an LLC. I cover a multiple choice thing. Well, multiple choice is probably not the word. I cover a lot of stuff, okay, about finances, and it's things that people need to know but don't know. So what I've done now is I've started expanding. I got into speaking at women's shelters right now and indigent groups because they're in the same boat. They're starting over. And God, what a head start it is if you start over and you understand how the system works. Instead of trying to learn how the system works at the same time you're starting over. So these videos are aimed at educating people who don't know, or educating anyone who just wants to know how money works. I think the wisest investor would profit from just watching this stuff. And I certainly believe that if you got teenage kids, this would be a great thing to make them watch. I know it's finance and they might find it dull and dry, but if this is something that'll serve them long after their multiplications tables leave their minds. This will serve them long after that Spanish 101 leaves their minds. This is something that'll stay with them forever because it's important. It changes their lives. So no matter where you are, what your finances are, these series are meant for you. And I also want you to know that I'm here to help. If I can help, I will. You'll get my contact information. You can call me or you can email me, and I'll be happy to help you with anything you need help with. Answer any question I can get the answer to. So here's the first one, 3A tutorial, compound interest. And then there'll be a 3B, which talks about where banks really make the money. This is where the big secret comes in. So I hope and pray that you gain something from this. If you can watch something and gain something from it, it will serve you later on in life. Even if it's buried in your subconscious, this is something that will always stay with you because it's knowledge, and knowledge is power. You know, debt is the largest industry in the world. No, you couldn't tell that. If you ask people, what do you think makes the most money? What industry makes the most money? Is it agriculture? Is it manufacturing? Is it real estate? Is it investments? Is it the stock market? Who makes the most money? And for some strange reason, debt doesn't even come up. And that's a wonder, because if you took all the earnings from all those other industries and compared it to what they make in debt, debt is by far the largest industry in the world and the most misunderstood. I mean, more people understand physics than debt. And there are not many people that understand physics. But the thing is, they teach physics in college. They teach physics in high school. But they don't teach debt anywhere. There are no books written on debt. There's no college courses on debt. There's no information out there for people to learn about how debt works. I wonder why that is. Why would they keep that a secret from us? I mean, why don't we have the information so we can make informed decisions? You know, I had a friend one time told me that she never made a bad decision off the information she had at the time. But she reserved the right to change her mind if she got better information. Well, that might be why she was married 5 times. I don't know. But that's the problem with debt. You can't go anywhere. You can't Google it. And when you do Google it, you get a bunch of googly gop. And nobody tells you how this thing works. So it's almost impossible for you to control something that you don't understand how it works. And you know, at least a rattlesnake has a rattle to warn you, stay away. But that doesn't have a rattle. It entices you in. It gives you a little free sample. I would say it's kind of like the drug business. Here, try some of this crack. You know, it's really going to make you feel better. I'll give it to you. And pretty soon you're hooked on that stuff. And then all of a sudden, debt controls everything in your life. It controls your marriage. It controls your happiness. It controls where you live. It controls where your kids go to school. It controls the type of cars you drive. It controls how much happiness you have. And so we're going to really start hammering on debt because I'm going to show you a way to think your way out of debt. And the beauty of that is it's a free lesson. So we're going to get started here learning about how debt works. Most people think that banks make their money from interest. And they do make money from interest, but that's only partially true. They make money from interest, but that's just one phase. Where they make the most money is the way we pay them back. So interest is what they charge us, and the way they pay us, that we pay them back, is where they make the most money. It's called amortization. So let me just break this down for you. It's not complicated, but it's just for some reason been hidden from history. So here it is. So let's talk about compound interest and the power of compound interest. Einstein loved math and understood the power of exponential growth. Growth that it grows a little, and the next month it grows a little more and grows a little more, and every time it's building on the growth that it's already had. So he saw the power in that in nature. But then he also saw the power of it in finance. Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Okay? He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't understand it pays it. If you can get this down, it's going to really alert you when you get ready to get into debt. And that's one of the things I'm talking to you about. I'm explaining interest and how banks make money so you understand this is something you probably want to avoid at all cost. So before we get into compound interest, it's important that you understand what simple interest is. Simple interest is you put $10,000 in a CD in a bank for 1 year, and at the end of the year, you draw out $10,300. That was your interest. So the way compound interest works is a little bit different because in simple interest, you're not getting paid on the interest that you accumulated. But in compound interest, you put $10,000 in. At the end of the month, at 3%, you've got $10,025. So the next month, great thing, great news. Instead of getting paid on $10,000, you're getting paid interest on $10,025. So you're making a little bit more interest. And it happens month after month after month. So the interest is accumulated and paid interest on, which makes things go a lot better. So that's the way compound interest works. And over time, the interest on the interest affects your money. It compared to simple interest, where you only get paid on the original investment. I hope that makes that clear. Okay, so compound interest is when you say let's say you put $10,000 in the bank and they pay you the 3%, like I said before. But what I want to do is kind of break this down. I want to make sure you understand how this actually works. Because Einstein said it was the most powerful force in the universe, compound interest. And it is pretty powerful. But it's not powerful for you. It's powerful for the banks. But because the banks figured out something, and I'm going to show you what the banks figured out. And so you need to understand what's going on with that money that you put into the bank. And they guaranteed you 3%. Because you're losing future value off that guarantee. I guarantee it. Okay, so there's your $10,000 at the end of the first month. At 3%, you now have $10,025. At the end of the second month, you got $10,050.06. What that means is that $25 that they paid you the month before is added to what makes interest. So you made 6 cents worth of interest on that $25. You made the regular $25 off your $10,000 investment. So the second month, you got $10,050.06. Whoopee! Okay. The next month, same thing happens, only this time you made 19 cents interest because you got more money in there. So that just keeps continuing through the note. Now it gets bigger and bigger. I'm not saying it doesn't, but in 10 years, you got $13,494. Now that's $494 better than you would have had if you didn't just got simple interest. So I guess that's okay. But you made $3,494. You put in $10,000. You took out $3,494. So you made almost $3,500. Whoopee! Okay, you're pretty happy now. Now let's look at what the bank did. So the bank took your money. You lent them your money, and they volunteered to pay you 3% interest, guaranteed. No matter what the market does, you're going to get that 3%. Then they took that money and they lent it out. You got to figure if the credit cards are over 20% now. So they're lending that money out and making a bunch of money on it. Well, let's say they only made 12% on your money. 12% on your money means you made $3,500. They made $22,500. How much money did the bank have invested? So what's the rate of return? Well, you got to think about what did the bank do there? They borrowed money from you and lent it out to somebody else. So they didn't have any of their money involved. It's just your money, of which you got the pennies and they got the barrel of peanuts, okay? I don't understand how that sounds good to anybody, but that's the facts. So now you need to decide, well, instead of deciding, let me show it to you again. Let me break it down how compound interest actually works and how it can be the most powerful force in the universe, depending on which position you're in. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is Einstein's rule of 72, which is real simple. You divide whatever interest rate you're making into the number 72, and it'll tell you approximately how many years it takes your money to double at that interest rate. So this is a handy thing you can do if you don't have a calculator. You can see how long it's going to take for your money to double, and it's going to also demonstrate you the power of compound interest. And like I said, the power of compound interest isn't for you, it's for the banks. The banks are making the power, you're making the peanuts, okay? So let's just look at it. We got 3%, 6%, and 12%. So let's say you put $2,000 in that account, and then in 6 years, 12 years, 18 years, 24 years, because 3 goes into 72 24 times, in 24 years your money doubled to $4,000. And then we got to work on it the rest of the time. And in 48 years, your money is now, your account's grown to $8,000. 2,000 of it was what you put in it. So, man, that got to make you feel good, doesn't it? Okay, let's look at the rule of 72. If you're making 6%. So 6 goes into 72 12 times. So in 12 years, your $2,000 would have gone to $4,000. And then another 12 years, 24 years later, it's 8,000. Another 12 years, 16,000. And another 12 years, $32,000. So you can see what's going on here. If the bank was investing your money and they were only making 6%, they made 32,000 and you made 8,000. You know, you didn't get a good split, okay? Because 2,000 of that was yours to begin with. Okay, so the difference that you're going to find is as we move up to what banks can actually do, you'll see why I said this is huge, but it's not huge for you. You have a hard time participating in this because you fell for that old line about 3% guaranteed, and you thought it was free. Okay, you can see right there some of how much future value you lost on your own money. Rule of 72, 12%. 12 goes into 72 6 times. So don't forget where you're sitting. You're over there at the 3% mark, okay? And the banks are taking your money that they're paying you 3% on, and they're lending it back out. So they're lending that money out, and they're getting more than 3%. That's why they do it. In fact, you got to look at credit cards are in the 20s now. I don't think it's very hard for a bank to make 12% on your money by doing loans. So they lend the money out. They're making $4,000 in 6 years. They made $8,000 in 12 years. They made $16,000 in 18 years. They made $32,000 in 24 years. They made $64,000 in 30 years. And in 36 years, they made $128,000. And in 42 years, they made $256,000. And in 48 years, they made a little bit over $500,000. Now, what did they make that money on? Your money. How much does a bank have invested? Zero. It's your $2,000. Your $2,000 that made $512,000 in 48 years. Now let's say you want your money out right now. So they got to pay you your money. They got to pay you your $8,000. So how much did they actually make? $504,000 on your money. Now you could have done the same thing, but you like the sound of that 3% guarantee. Man, there's just no risk involved. Well, I think you can see the size of the risk involved from the future value, and the banks do it every single day. That's another reason banks have great big Christmas trees and you got a little bitty one. So, I hope this opened your eyes. I hope this showed you something that you've never seen before. The compound interest is powerful. but it's not powerful for you. So you need to grab the reins of this horse, and I hope I can help show you ways that you can change your attitude and your methods where you get to participate in this huge return on your money. I don't know any easier way to say this, but they made 504,000. They made over $500,000, and they made it all off your investment, your money. Okay, you got screwed. So let's break it down. How bad did they do it, and how did they do it? Well, the way they did it is they promised you a 3% guarantee, and so you bid into that guarantee thing. I don't want to lose my money. I'm going to get that guarantee. Well, that guarantee came with your missed opportunity cost, which was $504,000 divided by 48 years. $504,000 divided by 48 years equals $10,500 per year. You invested $2,000 and you lost $10,500 a year. Your cost per year, $10,500 divided by 12 months, it cost you $875 a month to get that 3% guarantee. You paid too much for a 3% guarantee. So with this in mind, I hope you're getting to see a picture of what knowledge can do for you. Just understanding what exactly it cost you because you didn't understand compound interest, and you certainly didn't understand how to make it work for you. You just made it work for somebody else. After seeing all this, I'm sure you're not surprised about how banks make most of their money. But I've only showed you the interest part of it. And so we're going to take a break, and I'm going to show you the next part of this tutorial. 3B, it's what it's called if you're looking for it on the internet. And what I'm going to do is show you where the banks make all the money. I mean, they have got it figured out. So the next tutorial is learn bank's best kept secret. And this is a secret even bankers don't know. I promise you, when you finish this one and the next one, you'll know more about how money works than any banker out there. You can surprise them with the amount of knowledge you have. So make sure you go to the website, watch another one of these videos, watch them all, watch them 10 times, watch them 100 times. Do what it takes to get this to sink into your head, because this is the knowledge you need when you're functioning in this financial world. With this knowledge, you can not make bad mistakes. Okay, like my friend Peggy Cook said, never made a bad decision off the information she had at the time, but she reserved the right to make better decisions when she had better information. Well, I'm trying to get you some better information, and I hope this will change the way you think about finance. Second Chance Hope Group. I put this group together because I see a need in a lot of people. A lot of people have to start over, and starting over is a hard thing to do. And a lot of people are starting from zero, and a lot of people are starting even below zero. So I'm going to try to show you ways to use your brain to get out of this mess. Think your way out of debt. Think your way into prosperity. And I say, every time I do one of these, I say the truth to you. If I can help, I will. And I'm so dedicated to doing that, I'll give you my personal phone number. If you call this number, I'll answer it. And what I'll do is answer your questions for you. If you need help in something, or you're trying to find out some information on something, I'll be happy to do that. I'm not really that smart, just an average Joe guy, but I do know how to work artificial intelligence and ask questions. So, and I get an array of questions. So if you're behind bars, I'll give you my email address. If you want to ask me questions, you can do that. Or if you want to set up where you can call me, I'll set that up too. If you have friends, relatives, spouses out there somewhere that you would like to talk to me, just give them this phone number. What I'd like them to do before they do that is, because I get a lot of phone calls, is email me and tell me they want to talk to me, and let's set up a time I can dedicate some earnest time to them. So email me at je@secondchancehopegroup.org, and let's set up a time for me to talk to anybody you want, answer any questions you want. And I'm not really embarrassed if I don't know the answer I tell you, but I do know where to look for the answers. So I've been where you are. I know how it feels like to be alone, and some of you are absolutely alone when you get out of here. But when you get out, if you're in prison or you're even in a indigent center or a women's shelter, when you get out, that's when you see the value of what I can do, because I'm like having an uncle in the finance business. I'll be happy to help you when you get out. So here's my contact information. Make sure you go to the next tutorial. This is 3A. You're going to go to 3B on how banks really make their money. So enjoy these series, and always remember, if I can help, I will.